Hello, hello, hello. Hey, it's Rashid Hill of the Triple Effect. I've been on the road for a few days. Having traveled to Tyler, Texas with the family. And so right now we're on our way back, going through El Paso. So today, I just want to highlight you a little bit because I have to go ahead and get this in so that I can get it up for you by 7 p.m. PST every Friday. The show, the Triple Effect, goes live 7 p.m. PST, California time. So what are we going to talk about? Well, the news, current events. It's been interesting. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the news, but I just want to highlight that I think we all understand that there's an issue with domestic violence and domestic terrorism and gun violence and all these kind of things, mass shootings. So, I was reading an article that talked a little bit about that, and I wanted to just get your thoughts on it. I'm not gonna, like I said, go over it too long and make this a very one-sided conversation, but I would like to put it out there and ask you about your thoughts on this latest round of shootings out of El Paso as well as Dayton, Ohio. And I believe there's another one. I don't have the full information on it, so I won't go into it. But I thought I heard something about another one that happened as well. But I found it interesting because when you really look at what's going on in this particular world of events and these particular specific gun-related events, we have to go back and figure out why. What is it that is putting somebody in a position to believe it's okay to go and just shoot, 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 take up their time, drive long distances? I mean, what inspires them to actually go and take lives of strangers in any location throughout the U.S. or anywhere in the world for that matter? I just never understood and don't understand that. But one of the things that brings to mind is, what about the projects that have been utilized and researched um, from long, long ago? So there's some things that you may think is some ancient alien or some Area 51 stuff, but let me tell you, when you think about it, there are psychological warfares that go on where they take true information that sounds a little far fetched, and the government actually puts it into one of those tabloids, a National Enquirer or Sun or some kind of crazy newspaper, and make you think it's not real. When in reality, they've actually tested, researched, developed, and created some of these programs that we're seeing the results of. So why would somebody wake up one day, grab a weapon, and go to a school and just unload on people they don't even know? They don't ask their ethnic background. They don't ask if they're from that city. They don't ask them any questions. They just take them out, and they don't care what color, ethnicity they are. So except for the last one, if you're going to drive 600 to 900 miles and you go to a location that's on the border and you go to a crowded retail store, then yeah, you're kind of targeting people of one culture or one ethnic background. So we realize that. And that's a different thing. But then when you look at what mentality would a person be in, like in Dayton, Ohio, that he would put on armor and go and take a weapon and go and kill his sister and her boyfriend, then keep shooting? What kind of mentality is that? So that makes me think about programs like Manchurian Candidate or Manhattan Project they use these programs. They create weapons of mass destruction. They create weapons of personal destruction, which is basically poisoning the mind. And then when you listen to, maybe the highest position in the U.S. that goes out and talks about different things in the public, and what if that person that's listening gets that trigger word, gets the word that sparks or brings alive and activates that dormant project, and it tells them exactly what to do, where to go, and how to do it. Yeah, this is something that's been going on, but they just didn't have any obvious ways to put it out there and make sure that it works. Well, a way to do that is to take a person, infect their minds, put them on a black site, on the website, in the dark corner of the website, make it look like he's been programmed by some left or right wing group, and then quietly convince them with a trigger word because they got a bug, under their skin somewhere or put in their neck, and they go out and they cause some mass damage to people. And then the next thing you know, when they get arrested, they are like, I don't know what happened. It wasn't me. Think about the guy in El Paso. He seemed not to know what was going on. He just basically did what he did. When he got arrested, he was like, okay, I'm done. I'm good. Got in the car and drove off. Very interesting. But if he was really, really going after people and some mass destruction, and he really, really, really was doing this on his own, why wouldn't he just continue until he got shot? No, because he was programmed. That's my theory anyway. And you can have yours too. So the one other thing that I want to lead into is that some of the policies that are being created from that is more on the mental health, attacking social media, video games. Uh, but you have some people that are in some of the government offices saying that it should be utilizing this red flag policy. Well, this was used in the VA to flag people that are unruly, I would say, which I think it's relevant in certain cases and it's necessary in certain cases, but also at times it might be a little biased as well. So we got to be careful with those. But I do respect the fact that medical and healthcare workers have to protect themselves if people are disruptive and destructive to themselves or other people. So that might need to be red flagged as long as it's not being abused. I think it's legit. But when you have events that go on that are associated with gun violence in a massive way in America, and then they come back and say it's a mental health issue. I agree. There's some mental health problems going on there. The second part of that is now they want to say there's a program called, red flagging, that they actually can stop somebody from causing an incident before they actually act upon whatever plans that they may have. Now, who decides if that person is going to carry out something? If that person has a weapon and they disagree with their neighbor, who's calling law enforcement? Who's telling them that this person is a threat to somebody? And who is saying that they're going to cause some type of mass disruption? Who decides that? And if you were the one that had a weapon and you were legitimately carrying that weapon and you were discussing shooting turkeys in your backyard and your neighbor decided to contact law enforcement to say that you were a threat, would somebody come get you and your guns? What kind of law enforcement is that? But that's what's going on. Hey, we'll talk later. Peace.